we're gonna be covering Friday Night SmackDown that just took place last Friday, and I gotta tell you, it was pretty much action packed. I gotta be honest with you, it was a good show to watch. If you ask me which one I like better, Raw or SmackDown, I gotta go with SmackDown. SmackDown was pretty much action packed from the beginning, and it always has been anyway. Like I always feel like SmackDown is more of the action-packed show, and Raw is more drama-related. I mean, there's action in there, but it's more drama than it is SmackDown. And I'm more of an action guy. So, before we cover this Friday Night SmackDown episode, if you have not done so, make sure you all subscribe to the channel, so that way you guys get more reviews from me of Monday Night Raw and SmackDown. Of course, make sure you keep the notification bell on so that way you don't miss any videos I upload. So we basically kick off with actually going to backstage, getting an interview from Roman Reigns and the Bloodlines, and pretty much I forgot her name, the reporter's name. I can't remember her name anymore, but basically they just cover up what happened this past Saturday at the Royal Rumble, where Sami Zayn basically turned into a babyface and, turned on Roman Reigns, which the fans were waiting for that. So they saved that till later on in the show, at the end of the show, where Roman Reigns addressed the crowd of what happened this past Saturday, which we get to that in a minute. So then after that, they kicked off with the first match. And then the first match, it was Braun Strowman and Ricochet versus the Imperium in the corner of Gunther. And I gotta tell you, man, it was a pretty interesting match. It was a good starting match. Maybe it was a little bit too long, but for the most part, it was pretty decent. I like the part where Braun Strowman, he catches one of the Imperium members. I cannot remember their names. But he catches him like with one hand basically, and I would have thought they would have had him catch both of the two of the guys, but I guess one was good enough for him. And I gotta tell you, man, Braun Strowman, he's a strong son of a gun, man. Let me tell you, he is to me, Braun Strowman, he's a lot more in better shape than when he first came out, or even before he was released from the company. I feel like, Roman, to me, he's a lot more stronger than he ever was. And I can see him, they're kind of pushing him into like, kind of like the Big Show in a way, where he can be, or Big Show or Kane and Undertaker. Basically, he's a monster, right? He can play both as a baby face, which is a good guy, and he can play as a heel, which is the bad guy. For me, if I had to pick which one I like best, that's tough, because, see, when he's a heel, you can see how much of a savage Braun Strowman can be. But when he's a good guy, yeah, he can slap the kid's hands and, do all this crazy, powerful, incredible stuff. So, I don't know, that's tough to pick out. Probably be more interested with the heel, because I'm curious to know what they're going to do with that character that he has now as a bad guy. So it'll be interesting. I'll be looking forward to see what they have in store for Braun Strowman. And as far as Ricochet goes, I mean, that guy is incredible, man. I mean, when he did that 450 splash on top of Braun Strowman's shoulders, I mean, that was crazy. I don't know how long he's going to be doing all them high flyer. I don't know how long he can last that. But, oh my God, that guy is incredible, man. I can see him a future Intercontinental Champion, or even a future Undisputed Championship one day. I can see him getting pushed one of these days, in my opinion. So the match itself was pretty decent for the most part. And then you had the interview with Charlotte Flair, and it was getting interrupted by Sonya. And I love how they had her, basically not answer the question of her response from Ripley, of basically Ripley cutting a promo on Charlotte Flair this past Monday. I like that how they saved that, and they're like, and like Charlotte is like teasing it up, and like, you know, I could see that there's gonna be some intention. If I was everybody, I would be checking that out. That confrontation between Ripley and Charlotte Flair, I believe, is going to happen. We know it's gonna happen at WrestleMania, but I can just see the promos that these two women are going to go at it with each other. I can see some fights happening. I mean, I could see an interesting story between them two, and it's like building up. That is my humble opinion, but to me, that's what the way how it's headed. And no matter who wins the match, whether it's Charlotte Flair or Ripley at WrestleMania, which it probably would be Ripley, you know, winning WrestleMania, I could see them having a good match. I could see them having a really, really good match. Charlotte Flair, see, to me, she's one of those women who she can have like a good 5-star matches, in my humble opinion. And not just because she's she's one of the greatest women's champions of all time, but because the athletic ability to be able to tell the story and build up that story while they're wrestling in the match, and of course cutting promos. So anyway, not to get any more rambling up, but as you can see, I'm excited for that matchup to happen. I'm really looking forward to it. So then Sonya interrupts her on the interview, and then obviously they're gonna have a women's championship at SmackDown, which was really cool. It was really good for the most part. You know, I love the storytelling in the matchup. It was good. You know, like I said, Charlotte Flair, one of the greatest women's wrestlers alive today. 14-time women's championship. I'm sure Ric Flair is looking at her daughter and just like with a big smile on his face every time he sees her on TV. So, hats off to Charlotte Flair and of course Sonya. And the rest of the women's locker room, I mean, shit, my gosh, man. It's incredible how these women are, man. I tell you what, man, some of them, they do it better than the guys, man. That's just my humble opinion, but especially on Friday Night SmackDown, good lord. But anyway, we'll get into more details about the matchup later on. And then you had, there was a commercial, or not a commercial, basically the WWE, they're doing sponsorship with, I guess, NASCARs and what have you. The NASCARs, they're going to have, their show today of the race car thing. I don't really watch NASCAR nor I pay attention to it. But anyway, you see that there was a little fun comedic segment between Dominic Mysterio and the Judgment Day, and Rey Mysterio and the New Day. And I can still see, the Rey Mysterio versus Dominic at WrestleMania. I can see that building it up, and I can see, in my opinion, Rey Mysterio, he probably would retire with his son, facing his son at WrestleMania. I could be wrong. He might still go after WrestleMania, but that's what it seems like to me. And to tell you the truth, it could not get any better than that. That's just my humble opinion. But anyway, yeah, that comedic segment that they had together at that NASCAR thing, it was pretty cool, for the most part. I was more interested with the promos of what Ray and Dominic was saying to each other, because the way how they were saying each other was pretty funny for the most part. But I could see some intense promos a little bit here and there, I'll be looking forward to that matchup as well. From my understanding, I think they have, I think they're going to go at it on this Sunday's Elimination Chamber, which would be interesting, because I'll be looking forward to watching that matchup if and when it does happen. So kudos to that part. And then you had, the matchup with Flair and Sonya for the Women's Championship. Obviously, we all knew that Flair was going to win the matchup. I mean, it was, it's that obvious, because I don't think the only way she's probably going to lose the Women's Championship is at WrestleMania, which wouldn't make sense. And more likely probably be Ripley, So, Like I said before, it was a great matchup. You know, a lot of wrestling and a lot of storytelling. You know, it was good for the most part. I mean, to me, it's one of the best matches on that card, in my opinion. As far as this Friday Night SmackDown is concerned, they had a really good match, in my opinion. So, kudos to those women's out there. And then you had the segment between Roman Reigns and the Bloodline, and basically, you know, they were worried about, you know, their brother Jay, which basically turned on his own flesh and blood at the Royal Rumble. And now, you know, Jay obviously is a babyface. I could kind of see where Jay eventually is going to come out at some point, maybe before Elimination Chamber or even at the Elimination Chamber, where they're going to go and he's going to go help Sami Zayn win the championship. And then maybe we'll have the championship at WrestleMania between Cody Rhodes and Sami Zayn. I could be wrong. It might still be, you know, Roman Reigns versus Cody Rhodes, or it could be a triple threat match. You know, you have Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns versus Sami Zayn. That can also happen. Well, actually, that's not a bad idea if you think about it. You know what I mean? I don't know who the fans will want though. They will want more. They will want to see Cody Rhodes winning the championship or Sami Zayn. I don't know if that were to happen. But we never know what can happen in the WWE. You know, as Vince McMahon once always said, anything can happen in the WWE. So, you know, we just shall see what happens. So it was an interesting segment in that, of course. And then you have the tag team match between the Bros versus the Raiders. That was, you know, that match was okay for the most part. You know, I liked at the end though where Sheamus and Drew McIntyre, they come out after the match and they started beating the holy hell out of the Raiders. I can see them obviously going to have a matchup at the Elimination Chamber. I'll be looking forward for that matchup. Drew McIntyre ripped as hell as usual. Sheamus, I mean, doing his thing, you know. I tell you what though, back, you know, it's a quick story. You know, so when Sheamus came out as a bad guy, you know, when he first came out, which is heel, obviously, he had a segment with Triple H. I used to call him Sour Cream Sheamus. And the reason I call him that, because every time, like, when he's not tanned, like, he's white as a ghost. So I used to call him Sour Cream Sheamus when he was a bad guy. Even when he was a babyface. Every once in a while, I'll call him Sour Cream Sheamus. It was just a joke that I had in mind. It was kind of weird how, you know, when he's not tanned, he's like sour cream. You know what I mean? So, anyway, man, Sheamus, he's doing his thing, of course, man, kicking ass as usual, you know. I see that he's upping a lot of new talents, you know, rising up to the top, you know, and hopefully he gets another run in the WWE Championship one day. You never know, you know. I kudos to Sheamus, you know. And then you had the backstage segment with Bray Wyatt, which Bray Wyatt was reminiscing of what happened, you know, what he did to, forgot the one of the superstars' name at this previous Royal Rumble. And you see his little mind games trick and everything, you know, like the Undertaker kind of, but he's not the Undertaker, he's Bray Wyatt. It was pretty cool, man. I'm actually digging the Bray Wyatt character, if you don't know, you know. It was pretty interesting. I'm looking forward to see what he's gonna do next Friday on SmackDown. And then you have the Fatal 4-Way match for the qualifying match for the women's, I believe it was for the women's championship at the Elimination Chamber. And the match itself is the Elimination Chamber. And Natalia won, of course, and with the sharpshooter. Match itself was okay for the most part, you know. Women's do what they gotta do, you know. I don't think the fans were invested into it anyway that much, especially that they just saw, you know, Charlotte Flair versus Sonya for the women's championship. I mean, you know, how the hell do you follow that? You know what I mean? It was a good matchup. I mean, that was tough to follow. So hey, sometimes as wrestlers would say, you know, they have the saying in wrestling, sometimes you gotta make chicken salad out of chicken shit. So it is what it is, you know. But kudos to those ladies out there doing their thing, of course, killing it, you know. And then last but not least, we had the Roman Reigns addressing the crowd of what happened this past Saturday. And it was really, really cool. I kind of, I didn't kind of expect Sami Zayn to come out, but I guess I should have. So basically, Roman Reigns, he's trashing the fans to basically acknowledge him, which was really funny. He kind of does it like in a comedic way. Kind of reminds me a little bit of John Cena, but John Cena, he was always babyface and he never wanted to turn heel. Roman Reigns was actually looking forward to turn heel when the time was right. It just so happened now that he actually does it 10 times better than maybe John Cena could ever pull it off. But I can see Roman Reigns. I could be wrong, but my prediction for Roman Reigns, I could see him as not now, but I think somewhere down the line, somewhere down the road, when he turns babyface, he probably is going to get a huge pop. Maybe not as popped as The Rock and Stone Cold, get, but pop enough where they respect him. Eventually, he earned the respect from the crowd. That's where I'm getting at. That's where I could see that coming from Roman Reigns. When he steps out every once in a while, he does a little part-time thing, kind of like what John Cena does. I can kind of see that happening. I could be wrong, but that's a little too. I know it's a little too early, but I'm just saying because I've seen similar stuff like this before, where the top of the guy, one of the top guys in the business is a heel for most part, and then years down the line, throughout his career and throughout all the blood, sweat, and tears he put out in the ring for the fans, eventually he turns to a babyface because it's more respect. Kind of reminds you, think of this. It's like Triple H, right? Remember how Triple H, he was always the heel, right? He was the heel, and then years later, after his run with Evolution, he basically was the babyface, and people were starting to respect the game, for what he has done for the business. You know what I mean? I could kind of see that with Roman Reigns. I could be wrong, but that's just my humble opinion. So anyway, it was an interesting promo he did, and then Sami Zayn comes in with the hood and everything. Fans were eating it up. Fans were going, as Monsoon would say, bananas. So, it was pretty cool. It kind of weird though, because I don't know what happened, but when Sami Zayn, I guess when he punched Roman Reigns, I don't know if it was in his back of his head or back of his neck or whatever. You see when Roman Reigns trying to get up, he kind of stumbled a little bit. I don't know if he had a concussion, and he was kind of touching his head after he was getting beat on his back and ribs and whatever. He was still touching his back of his head or neck, and it's kind of he was trying not to sell it. You know what I mean? He was trying to sell more on the body because he got attacked there as well. So hopefully Roman Reigns is okay, which I'm sure he's gonna pull it off. I mean, he's one tough son of a gun, of course. It's wrestling. It is what it is. You gotta do what you gotta do, right? So so then of course the bloodline came in. With backtrack, I forgot that Roman Reigns told his bloodline that go out to the restaurant and have the little sushi and all that stuff that he know about, whatever. Which we all knew that eventually they were gonna come back and help him, of course. So just backtrack that a little bit. So eventually they did that, and then that's basically where they end the show. So I'm looking forward to see what's gonna happen between Sami Zayn and Roman Reigns. Obviously they built it up for Roman Reigns versus Sami Zayn for the Elimination Chamber match. For non-Elimination Chamber match at Elimination Chamber. It's kind of confusing in a way, because they kind of WWE, they built the pay-per-view as a Elimination Chamber. It's kind of weird. Kind of like how they did the TLC. The match. It used to be called just the TLC used to be just a match, and now it's a pay-per-view. They're doing the same thing with Elimination Chamber. At one point, it was just a match, and now they turned from a match to a pay-per-view, and they have both Elimination Chamber as a match and as a pay-per-view. So it's kind of confusing in a certain way. So anyway, overall, I give a good thumbs up to Friday Night SmackDown, man. I gave it 4 out of 5 for me. You know, but what about you guys? What do you guys think of Friday Night SmackDown for this week? You know, I'd be looking forward to, to see what happens on, for next week's episode of Raw and SmackDown. And by the way, rest in peace to the Macho Man, Randy Savage, brother. Ooh, yeah, dig it. He just passed away. I think he passed away around his mid-60s, I want to say. Don't quote me on that, but my heart goes out to his family, and of course, now he's wrestling with his brother, and now hopefully they're gonna have a match together against, against Andre the Giant and the Ultimate Warrior. So, rest in peace to him, of course, and yeah, man, let me know what you guys think of Friday Night SmackDown. Put it on the comment section down below. If you enjoyed this video, you can do me a solid favor, then smash that like button, smash that subscribe button, smash that share button, and remember, make sure you keep that notification bell on so that way you don't miss any videos that I upload. Well, guys, I catch you down the road. Peace out.